What is going on, everybody? Depraved Slasher here. We are back with another music reaction. I'm Depraved.
I'm Hellcat.
Together we are
Hella Depraved.
Yes, we are.
And we're back with another Sa-Roc.
Yes.
Another.
Featuring.
Exciting. Ledisi?
Yes.
Ledisi.
I think.
And it is the title song from her album.
You're very fuzzy.
You're kitty.
Not that kind of fuzzy.
Well, you never know. What?
Nothing.
What? So yeah, it's the title track from this album, Sharecropper's Daughter.
Yes,
I'm excited. It is her origins, so I expect it to be sort of a where I came from type song.
Okay.
And she can always surprise us with mad lyrics and mad learning. So
Always.
Could be one of those. Could just be a nice background on her, you know?
All right. So, with that being said... Sorry, guys.
He's got the munchies.
With that being said, we're going to react to this if you guys have already seen it. If you've not seen it, please click the link in the description below. Hop on over, watch the video, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment. Let Sa-Roc know we sent you. And then come on back. And we say that because we're a breakdown channel. We're going to break down the bars. There will be quite a few pauses. We've actually kind of come into this like every 8 to 10 bars we pause to break down what's being said.
Right. To go over the lyrics. So with Sa-Roc, we do pull up the lyrics because she goes fast. She goes deep. It's just necessary. Right. So, again, every 8 to 10 bars, we'll stop, we'll pause, we'll read them, we'll go over what she said and what we think about it, how it applies. If there's any history lessons, any mythological, religious, anything that we know that we can break down for you, we will. But other than that, we're going to enjoy the hell out of it.
You know what I did today that you didn't do? I went and watched her interview.
Oh, I was asleep.
She got interviewed.
That is super cool, and I will have to go back and watch that. But yeah, I was
really
asleep.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right. So with that being said, we're gonna slash it up and break it down. This is Sa-Roc featuring Ledisi with the Sharecropper's Daughter. Let's get it. I'm already loving the back and forth.
Do you know who you are? Do you know where you've been? My friends, we belong to the stars, and we blow with the wind. Amen. I've seen the mountains, I've counted the raindrops.
So pretty.
Oh, that's soulful singing.
Yeah,
I love it.
You know, the mix of kind of like the blues and the funk and just taking the melody herself because it's not part of the instrumental in the beat.
Right.
I just love kind of like the deeper just maturity of her voice. It's just that strong vocal cords. You can tell that she could belt if she wanted to, but I just love that she's taking it slow and kind of easy, and
Ledisi killed that.
That was amazing sounding. And I really like the message that she was singing about, like, do you know your roots? Like, do you know where you came from? Do you remember? And even though we came from the stars, we are of the stars, we blow in the wind. Like, we've been transients. Not necessarily because we chose to do so, but we do blow in the wind. You know, and you kind of think of, with her voice and the soulful way it was going, you kind of think of like trees that are bending with the wind almost, that don't break, but just flow with it.
I love that last segment that says they tried to choke us, but we still breathe.
Right.
But my favorite part was they thought they could bury us, but they forgot we were seeds.
Right. Now, I've heard very similar saying before in
Right.
terms of the burying and the seeds, and you know, that's where we grow roots. That's how we anchor ourselves and actually grow stronger. We come back. But again, it's such a potent message, and it's one that's worth remembering. Like, we're still here. We're still standing. Like, we now have roots here, and we're going to keep growing. We're going to keep prospering. So, yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, though.
All right, Sa-Roc, your turn.
We were seeds.
They forgot that we were seeds, y'all. They say that I should just get over it. But I'm openly emotional, cause closed mouths don't ever get fed. And I've been starving for some help for all this arbitrary sadness circling the patterns of my heavy head. And this shit ain't new. Ways of blue been aimed at these genes since way before Wranglers, Angus raged through generations. And it seemed like angels don't sing with us anymore, so we've been forced to wait out storms to love to delay our celebration.
All right. I like the sound of her over that slight funk in the soulful beat. And again, you hear Ledisi in the back, just with her ad-libs, and it's gorgeous. So yeah, she starts with they forgot we were seeds, y'all. They say that I should just get over it. But I'm openly emotional because closed mouths don't ever get fed. Which is a literal thing. Obviously, you can't eat if your mouth is closed. But also, if you don't speak up, you're never going to get your share. Like, what you deserve. And this whole concept of, like, you should get over what was done to your family members, to you, to your ancestors. Like, A, it's not that easy.
Right.
And B, it's kind of offensive because what happened was a blight against human rights. And so, again, it's something that deserves to be spoken about, if not only for the purpose of truly hoping that it never happens again. And not just America, but everywhere in the world. Humanity themselves, it doesn't matter nationality, race, culture, we're very good at overwriting the sins of our past. And that's why we make the same mistakes again. That's why we don't learn. Right. Because we just write them out. Oh no, that genocide didn't happen. Oh no. We never treated that race like they were anathema. You know, and we move on, and then the next generations, it just filters out, and then it's forgotten, and it happens again. Maybe to a different race, maybe to a different religious group, but it happens again. So, you know, and it also, for the offspring of the people that the crimes were perpetrated against, it has been passed down. It's a generational trauma that they've heard about, that is written in their genetic code. It's not something that's they're not going to forget it. It's not something that's easy to get over. And it does need to be spoken about, so that, I'm not talking about reparations in terms of like finances, but just in terms of like acknowledgement need to be met for any type of learning, healing, anything. to be done about it. So she's not wrong. And I've been starving for some help for all this. Arbitrary sadness circling the patterns of my heavy head. So, random sadness, a depression. And this shit ain't new. Waves of blue been aimed at these jeans since way before Wranglers.
Fun play on words there.
Right? So, waves of blue would be also depression. But it's also something that... Isn't that in the... Shoot. My brain just hard stopped, y'all. It'll come to me way after this is over. But yeah, it's the generational depression trauma that I was talking about since way before Wranglers, which would be jeans, blue jeans, you know. Anger's raged through generations, and it seems like angels don't sing with us anymore. So they're angry at what has been done to their ancestors, to their people still today, and it just doesn't seem like heaven's on their side.
Right.
You know? But I do love the play on words with the waves of blue and the angels and the jeans and so on.
Right.
And angels don't sing with us anymore, so we've been forced to wait out storms to love to delay our celebration. Don't you ever tell me to be calm. I'm the spawn of tobacco sharecroppers, prisoners of Virginia farms, who work their arms, backs, and fingers to the gristle while the landowners pay the pittance for all the heavy lifting done. We come from places, man, where 12-year-old little black girls can't even name a rapist fam. And if she ever did, they throw her family off the acres and send a burning cross from a mob of hooded faces. Damn, that must have been when Nana's mind had a nervous break, and Granddad passing church after passing collection plates. This story comes to me like second nature, cause I've been hearing about our pain and glory since I was a youngin' 7 to 8.
Alright. So, we've been forced to wait out storms that love to delay our celebration. Don't you ever tell me to be calm. I'm the spawn of tobacco sharecroppers, prisoners of Virginia farms. Slaves of tobacco farms. That's what her parents were, and ancestors before that. And of course, the storms being just what was perpetrated on them. Like they couldn't celebrate. And they were forced to wait it out because they were slaves who worked their arms, backs, and fingers to the gristle. That would be your cartilage, your bone. While the landowners paid a pittance for all the heavy lifting done. They were paid, pennies to the dollar. We come from places, man, where 12-year-old little black girls can't even name her rapist fam, which is...
Usually the slave owners.
Yeah, I was going to say, or their kids' family. And if she ever did, they'd throw her family off the acres and send a burning cross from a mob of hooded faces. Damn. So the KKK would come after them. They would lose the only home that they had. That's if they weren't killed, honestly, because slaves were considered property. Like, it was considered okay for the owner of the land to have sex with anybody that he saw, and no one was supposed to say a word about it. It was just one of his rights, which is disgusting.
Right.
That must have been when Nana's mind had a nervous break. No shit. And Granddad passed in church after passing collection plates. So you pass collection plates in church to tithe to the church. And Nana, I'm wondering if it was because her Nana was remembering what happened, or if it was a child of her sister of hers that was mistreated, raped as a young girl, or this story comes through me like second nature. Because I've been hearing about our pain and glory since I was a young'un, 7 or 8. So that's when she started learning about her past, her family's past, why her grandma and granddad weren't around any longer.
Right.
So on and so forth. So, I mean, for people who are like, it's in the past, like, if you think about it, her grandma and granddad obviously experienced enough for her to have a mental breakdown and him to pass away. That's not that long ago.
Right.
Yeah.
To me like second nature, cause I've been hearing about our pain and glory since I was a young and 7 or 8. Despite that, we knew love more deeply than any other feeling. That's why I keep on busting through when I reach and touch the ceiling. When I say I'm the best, I'm not expecting approval or clearance. I'm just hoping the rest of you see the connection between truthful and healing. I'm just hoping the rest of you see the connection between truthful and healing. I'm just hoping the rest of you see the connection between truthful and healing.
Wow. Okay. So despite that, we knew love more deeply than any other feeling. So as a family, even learning about all of this trauma, all of this pain that their ancestors went through, that their grandparents went through, they were loved and they knew love. That was the thing she remembers the most is the family kind of love. That's why I keep on busting through when I reach and touch the ceiling. So love is what drives her and buoys her and motivates her, even though she's aiming for the top right now.
Right.
When I say I'm the best, I'm not expecting approval or clearance. I'm just hoping the rest of you see the connection between truthful and healing, which she's mentioned a couple times in this album, like speaking on the facts, on her personal life, on her ancestry, how she grew up. It heals. It helps heal, to be able to talk about it, to spread it, but also to not embellish, to not be talking about stuff that she's not involved in. You know, this is her diary, basically, to everybody, and she's hoping to help somebody with similar stories along the way, you know. And then, of course, it repeats. So that is
Let's
a poignant message.
go ahead and let it play out.
Yeah. That was really nice. Very nice.
Beautiful song.
So it was a mixture of, like, story from how she grew up, but also a message of survival and thriving despite your beginnings. I loved Ledisi on it, too. That
Right.
was just gorgeous. So, again, another absolute wonderful track from Sa-Roc. And did you notice the logo changed again?
Yeah, it keeps changing.
Yep.
And just thinking about the message of the whole song. I feel like so much with slavery is overlooked because it's hard for white people to 100% being honest, we'll never be able to really sympathize.
Nope.
With growing up having that hang over our heads.
Right.
But it's funny how much white people can't seem to even empathize
Right.
with it. Like, hell, even younger, or well, late teen, early 20s me. So this was like 15 years ago or so. Like, I used to be one of those white guys that was like, I didn't own slaves. Why are you mad at me?
Right.
My parents didn't own slaves. Why are you mad at them?
Right.
And it's one of those things that as I've gotten older and you really
Learn more, think
learn
about
more,
it,
evolve as
mature.
a person mentally,
Right.
and think about things like the big thing is, honestly, black people still aren't treated as equals.
Yeah, and I think part of it is every time she's talking about, like, opening her mouth, speaking on it, like, it's not the African Americans that I've spoken to about this subject that have been friends of mine in the past have said that for them personally, because they were my age, it wasn't so much that they were mad at me, but they were completely distrustful of white people in general, and obviously as figureheads politically, you know, what positions of power, period. And obviously most positions of power are held by white people. That's just how it is. And they were just taught to be distrustful. And yeah, you are absolutely correct. The people my age were not necessarily even treated as equals at this point. And because we do tend to whitewash the past, a lot of people my age were not even being taught about the atrocities that were committed just a few generations ago. Right. So the whole mentality was like, dude, that happened like 400 years ago. Why would you be so... No, it did not. Like, civil rights movements didn't start until 50s, 60s, and 70s. That wasn't that long prior to when I was having these conversations in the 90s or so. Right. And you would hope, which is not something that's happened, but that would be something that would be taught in social studies, especially since as Americans, we think our history is so wonderful and needs to be taught so much that we spend years on it when we have, like, I don't know, 250 years of history to learn instead of, you know, the absolute centuries over in Europe. And, you know, our social studies books are this thick, and there is nothing but a glossed over version of Native American history, African American history. And so how are the kids' attitudes supposed to change? Well, most of us have to go on to college. Most of us have to start maturing, start looking, start learning for ourselves. And unfortunately, that is not everyone's pursuit in life. Right. So there's still so many people that, I mean, there's people around that don't believe the Holocaust ever happened. That's how bad we are with whitewashing history. So this message where it's like, no fam, this happened to my granddad and my nana. Like, I can name the people that were close. That's not that far back, you know? I wish messages like this were school worthy.
And like, just to give you guys an idea, and I think it was the moment in my life where I really did realize that shit was not right.
Right.
I want to say I was about 23, 24 years old. Was not living in the best of areas in terms of local crime, things like that. And I remember coming home, it was either from work or dropping a buddy off somewhere. I don't remember. But I do remember getting pulled over. And at the time I was driving a Buick, which it was old, rusted.
Right.
Got pulled over. And legit got to watch out the side mirror as a cop was walking up to the window, gun drawn. He tapped on the window. I rolled the window down. He looked in the car. And 100% his exact words were, "Oh, you're not black. Never mind. Have a good day."
Who?
And like, it was at that moment I was like, really?
What the fuck?
And like, this is what black people get to worry about
All
every
the time.
time they get pulled over.
Right.
Like, and it's bullshit.
Yeah,
It's...
I mean, I had started studying basically human on human atrocities super early, having been named after a Holocaust survivor. It was just something that, I had been told her story many times, visited her house, the historic site, and so on and so forth at 7 or 8. Read the story in 7th grade with my class. I had already read it, but it was school reading for us. And then when I started college at 16, that 20th century European history focus on the Holocaust is what I chose initially as my major, and I met Holocaust survivors. So I know I grew up privileged, 100%. 100%. But even at a young age, I was already aware that human beings can be horrible monsters to each other. And so, yeah, when I moved to New Mexico and I saw that other races, other cultures were treated as worse than second-class citizens, and made friends with some Native Americans. I made friends with some Hispanics. There's actually a couple African Americans that I was very close to in college, and I started asking to learn, basically. Like, no particular questions in mind, just like, I want to know about your life, like your view on things and how you developed it. And it is scary what we as human beings are capable of. It's really terrifying. And I did do a lot of study into different cultures around the world, not just the Americas. And at one point or another, large portions of humanity have been persecuted terribly for centuries over different cultural ideas, different religious beliefs, different colors of skin. Like, we as humans have this dire need to categorize everything down to the last detail. And unfortunately, by categorizing everything, that means everything is in a different box. And if it's not in your box, then we classify that as other instead of just as diversity. And it's it's disgusting. I try almost to never follow the news because I get worked up and actually, like, physically sick. But I am glad that in this kind of format that is so sonically pleasing to listen to, that is so catchy, that she has such a poignant message. And I just wish more people would be open and receptive to what the depth of these messages are. I'm glad that there are more artists doing this and getting these types of stories that are so deep out there. I hope that in the future it makes a difference.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So with that being said, we're going to end this here.
Our whole rant.
Yes.
You're welcome.
If you guys liked the video, slash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, comment down below what did you think of Sa-Roc featuring Ledisi with the Sharecropper's daughter. Also comment down below if there's anything else you guys want to see reacted to. Check the description below for all the things.
Push our buttons. Come join us on our other social media platforms, mostly Twitter if you want a quicker response.
And with that being said, we love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Cannot wait to see you, depraved people, later.
Bye.